Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. I do want to apologize that the videos have been kind of lacking. I have uploaded some, but they were videos that I've already made, but didn't have a chance to upload them. See, I was taking care of my mom's dogs, watching the dogs, well, mine too, because I had to take my dog to my house because at this house, at my dad's house, I can't leave Chef here by himself. Even though we left dogs here before. I mean, we left JT here in the past too. I don't know. It's very confusing. I also have had a cold. I still have one. I think it's a cold. I don't know what it is. I hope it ain't COVID. Although, I think if it were COVID, I would be feeling a lot worse than I am. But that's if I sound funny, that's why. Because my nose has got, it's got drainage in it. So, yeah. But, in today's video, I actually want to talk about something. I want to talk about, Disney Plus and Hulu, and how apparently now they got the deal settled. At least I think they do, and probably some unfortunate news for Hulu and all that, but I'll be talking about that in a second. Before I get any further, I must get my introduction out of the way. Please subscribe to my channel, hit notification bell. I am trying to get to 1K subs. We're getting closer and closer. I'm actually at 559 subs. Thank you for the support. Make sure you guys are still subscribed to my channel. Also, I do want to give you guys a heads up too. I've been noticing this on YouTube that my videos have been kind of like disappearing from my playlist. So yeah, there's that. I will be talking more about that stuff, because I have a feeling it's got something to do with the technology, the AI, and all that, but, I mean, I guess this could not be AI, it could just be YouTube, but I feel like YouTube's been kind of acting glitchy, and I think that's why, but I'll talk about that later, because that'll be involving Hollywood, too, and all that, but because there is a lawsuit that I think Universal and Disney, or is it just Disney that's trying to file against somebody, or people with AI and all that, so I'll talk about that later. For right now, though, I'll be talking about this. Also, you guys can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm still trying to figure out what's going on with Twitter. I haven't been really getting, any notifications on people follow me on there, so, but, I'll talk about, I guess I'll figure that out later, but, for right now, though, let's go ahead and actually get into this. So, as you guys know, Disney, well, for people who don't know this, I should say, but back in 2019, when Disney acquired Fox, they were supposed to had a deal with Comcast, to buy the rest of the portion of, Hulu. Because, when Disney acquired Fox, because basically, Hulu is basically split off into multiple companies. So, Fox, owned, a good portion of Hulu. So did Disney, and, Comcast owned a bunch too. And then, I think even Universal, or not Universal, sorry, I mean, Warner Brothers owned, I think 10% of it and all that. So they all owned, some share of Hulu. So what happened was when Disney acquired Fox, they got a good chunk of Hulu. So, because I don't remember exactly when Warner Brothers sold their share, but they did. I think they sold it after Disney kind of took over, over, Hulu. They kind of, I think that's when they sold their share. So Disney got control over Hulu. However, they didn't have complete control over it because Comcast, which is Universal, owned the other chunk of Hulu. They own the other chunk of Hulu, and that's because, the reason why Disney wanted to buy it was because they wanted to buy the rest of Hulu so they could own it, and so they could do whatever they wanted with it. But because Comcast owned the other third of Hulu, they couldn't do that. So they basically had a deal to buy it. So when Disney Plus was profitable in 2024, that's when they were going to acquire it. And now it's 2025. Apparently, they were having some struggles acquiring it because they were supposed to acquire it last year, but apparently, Comcast was trying to get more money out of Disney when it came to buying Hulu. Disney was trying to fight it and all that, and not pay a certain amount. I'm not exactly sure what the hell is going on here. I don't know who was in the right and who was in the wrong. All I know is Disney doesn't really have the money to be paying for this shit and all that, and Disney was trying to get as less money off of it as possible because because a few years prior, when they bought out Fox, they spent over $71 billion for it. Now, some people are still saying that Disney acquiring Fox was actually a very smart idea. I keep telling people I don't think it was a smart idea. I think it was a stupid idea because basically they got the leftovers of Fox. They got all the junk, and it's basically like they went to a junkyard and basically bought a bunch of the junk there. Basically, is what they did. A lot of these franchises that they got, were ran into the ground and all that. It did increase their library, but the problem is they overspent on it. They spent way too much on it. Even before the bidding war, Disney was going to pay, Rudolph Morlock, or, however you pronounce his name. I can't he was the guy who owned Fox originally. But he sold the company to Disney, or he was gonna sell it to them for I think it was 40, I don't remember exactly, 40 something billion dollars. So it was 40 something. I don't know exactly how many billions, but it was a lot of money. And that even then, that's still a lot of money. But when Comcast got in there, Comcast bidded and all that, and they raised it up to, $71 billion. So freaking Disney ended up paying, which was already expensive. They paid way more for Fox than they should have. And like I said, even I was talking about, them even paying 40 something billion dollars for Fox, that's still a bunch of money. If the franchises were still good, then maybe it wouldn't be so bad, but a lot of those franchises were milked to death and all that, and they weren't really worth the money. They basically lost a lot of money there. That's why they keep making all these damn sequels, because they're trying to make their fucking money back for buying Fox, but they're not going to make it back. They're not going to make it back. They have movies like Avatar and all that, and they do actually have a movie, I think, coming out this year. I think it's this year. An Avatar 3. The problem is those movies cost a shit ton of money to make. And they cost a shit ton of money to make. And the last one they made their money back, but they barely made it back. And even then, I think that it was a stretch because I think it was a stretch that they made their money back for it because a lot of people I knew didn't even go see it in the theaters. See, movies like Lilo and Stitch and all that, a lot of people went to see it. That I knew went to see it in the theaters. Avatar, a lot of people I know didn't even go to see it in the theaters. So yeah, I think there was some stuff going on there, but this whole thing of them buying Fox. Sorry, I have a cold. Like I said, I have a cold. But like I said, the whole thing though, with them buying Fox was very stupid of them. And when they made this deal with fucking Comcast of Hulu, that was not very smart either, because I think them buying Hulu is just fucking worthless. Like, it's worthless. Like, what was the point of them buying Hulu? I'm like... Now, I've watched this YouTuber called, because I got some people in my comment section. I got some people in my comment section, that I've read some comments about, like, me being on there with because I was watching some of these videos. I kind of quit watching him because he's kind of like, I don't know, he kind of gets kind of smug about things, but like, he talks about like Disney Plus news and all that, so I kind of watched him in the past, but now he gets kind of smug about stuff, so I don't really watch him much anymore. But I pointed out in his videos, I've talked about this, like, that Disney Plus is not really profitable. And that's the thing, though, like, Disney, not just Disney, other companies do this all the time, so I don't want you guys to think it's just Disney, but, like, all these companies here, they'll try to make it look like something's profitable, and all that. It really isn't, because I'm like, if Disney Plus was profitable, they wouldn't be trying so desperately to, like, get people to subscribe to their platform. I mean, they're offering all these deals, and, and then they're also, like, people canceling subscriptions and all that. Like, the only reason why I have Disney Plus is because my family has it. I don't watch it much. I don't really watch, a lot of streaming. I watch, like, I think I watched Paramount Plus, and then I watch YouTube, and, maybe a little bit of Hulu, but that's pretty much it. Even Hulu, I don't really watch a lot. I pretty much just don't watch a lot of, like, streaming, I just happen to have all this stuff because my family, watches this stuff. But even then, like, a lot of my family members, like, if I go on Disney Plus or something, like, I actually have a TV show I will be reviewing for you guys. It's a Star Wars TV show. I'm still in the middle of watching it, but I go on there and, like, nobody else is watching it. Like, because you can see the stuff that you're watching on there, like, or what people have watched, like, you can see their shows, their past content, you can see it on there, so, yeah, there's really nobody, like, I don't, like, I see anybody really watching the stuff anymore, and that's kind of the thing, though, that's kind of the thing with the Disney Plus and all that, like I've said, it's just, like, I think it's just people are just not really watching it and all that, and because a lot of this stuff you could get on DVD too, and that's the problem. I think that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to push people to go to the platform, but there's only a handful of people you're going to get on the platform. People are not going to be going to the damn platform, they're not going to be doing that. That's the problem. And offering these deals, which, seems like a generous thing. It is kind of funny how even like they offered a deal, I think in March, like after the investor call, or actually it was after or before the investor call. They offered this deal that was for like 4 months, and it's funny because like every 4 months they have their investor calls, so you can tell that something's not right. That's the thing. That's kind of like where, like I said, Disney trying to, again, acquire Hulu kind of comes into this. I don't think Disney is profitable. I don't think their company is profitable at all. Not just their streaming platform, but their, like, the company as a whole. Like, I think they're losing money. They're losing customers, and because people are fed up with Disney's bogus. But I will say, though, them acquiring Hulu, like I said, does not make any sense. And that's what it feels like they're going to do. They're going to, like, what I've heard is they're going to merge it with the platform. which is what I've been saying they're gonna do. That's what Disney does. Anything Disney acquires and touches, they kill. They're like fucking poison, like if you get like a poison or something, like they'll like one touch it'll kill you or something, That's how Disney is with their properties. They like as soon as they fucking touch it, they fucking kill it. And that's kind of the problem with Hulu. Now, I've been saying this for a while, that they're gonna kill it, and I think that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna fucking merge it with the platform, which, again, I'm just, like, looking at this, and I'm like, why are you merging it? Just fucking sell the damn thing off. Fucking sell it off, You're clearly losing money here, and instead of fucking selling this shit off to, somebody else, you're basically going to, again, lay off people, replace them with AI and all that. And it's just fucking stupid. Like, it is really stupid. Like I don't know, like, why they keep doing this, but they keep doing it. And that's kind of the problem. They're gonna keep trying to cut costs too. Like I said, I'm gonna make a video about the AI thing later, because I want to talk about AI in general, and then a lawsuit, because Disney has a lawsuit with people, but I want to talk about mainly the whole, AI right now, because, yeah, they're trying to cut cost and replace people with AI, and I'm just like, you're eventually going to hit a fucking ceiling, and you're going to still be screwed, You're going to be screwed. And what you're doing here is when you lay off these people, you're creating competition, And yeah, to be fair though, a lot of people in Hollywood are starting to use more AI. And I think eventually it's going to get to the point where there probably won't be as many people working, in Hollywood. But at this point, I'm just like, people are just going to leave. People are probably going to be leaving Hollywood anyway, just go somewhere else, Or hell, they could create their own, the platform. They could create their own platforms, They don't fucking need Hollywood, It's just ridiculous. But, yeah, Disney, out of all of them, I feel like is doing this the most. They're definitely doing this the most. They're like definitely laying off people, because again, they can't afford to keep people on here because they're losing money. And like I said, the merging Hulu with Disney Plus, that doesn't make any sense. Because, again, like, why the hell do they even acquire it at all? Yeah, they had a deal with Comcast, but they're still worried about, again, losing fucking money. Instead of fucking merging the damn platform with Disney Plus, just fucking sell it off. And you could say, well, there may not be anybody to sell it to. I'm sure you could find somebody out there who could buy it. Like I mentioned before, you could sell it to like Nintendo or I said Microsoft, because they're like, these video game companies are making, their own shows and stuff. They're making their own shows. I guess to be fair though, technically, I guess Nintendo is kind of teaming up with Universal, but still, they could do that. They don't like, and they can still have their own platform or something, because they're just teaming up with them. They could buy it, and then I don't know, they could put all their older shows on there. I don't know, because right now it's very hard and difficult to find the older shows. They could do that, because they could just put it all on a streaming platform, That they could sell, like I said, they could sell Hulu to somebody else instead of killing off the brand. Because that makes people like me sad that they're gonna kill off something. But like I said, that's what Disney does. Disney's like poison ivy. Or not poison ivy wouldn't kill somebody. I should say more like rat poison or something. Like they basically one touch and they'll fucking kill it. That's what they did with other stuff they've acquired. Like they acquired Maker Studios, they shut it down. Blue Sky, they fucking shut it down. They shut that down. And then they've also they've also, shut down, like, let's say Maker Studios. Yeah, I think I said Maker Studios. Yeah, that was something they acquired with part of YouTube. They shut that down too. I think they shut that down. I don't know, but they definitely either kill something or they shut it down. Like they'll run it into the ground. That's what they've done with Lucasfilm too. They fucking they don't know what they're doing with it. They acquired it, and then they're just running the brand into the ground, So seeing these companies we once loved get killed by this company, all you're doing is, again, pissing off your fans more, But, yeah, I don't know. I think there's definitely some stuff going on, though, because I actually haven't talked about this in a while either, but remember when Disney also threatened these They threaten these, these customers well, I guess not customers. It was just, I think, one person because his wife died. So he's trying to sue the damn company, and because she accidentally got food she was not supposed to eat because she was allergic to it. I think it was, I don't remember what it was, like what she was allergic to, but. Honestly, Disney shouldn't even got involved with that. That'd be the parks, not their fault, But they escalate the situation by making it worse by threatening these people because they had Disney Plus. They couldn't sue, the company. Like there's definitely some shady shit going on behind the scenes in the company. There definitely is. And again, like if their platform was fucking profitable, like I said, they wouldn't be cutting these people and all that and offering all these deals. I mean, companies offer deals a lot of times, but like Disney does it all the damn time. I think that they need to just shut down Disney Plus too. Like, instead of fucking merging with Hulu, just sell Hulu off, shut Disney Plus down, and just go back to fucking Netflix. I keep saying that because they're clearly losing a lot of money, they are. And what they're gonna try to do, they're gonna try to cut costs and all that, and it's just not gonna work out. I think they just need to shut it down. Because they're just gonna make their content cheaper looking and not as much, put much effort into it, and that's kind of the problem there, That's just kind of the problem, But, yeah, I don't know. But I will say, too, I don't know if I brought this up before, too, but, like, I want to point this out real quick first. But, people are trying to tell me, too, I've had people saying, like, what's your thoughts on Disney buying Paramount? I've seen some people point that out. I'm just like, they're not gonna buy Paramount. Disney does not have the money to buy Paramount. They don't have the money to be buying Paramount. Because Disney, has, Disney, like I said, was trying very desperately to, like, again, try to acquire Hulu and all that. Like, try not to spend as much money on it. They don't have the money to buy, Paramount. Thank God, because they would fucking ruin Paramount. Also, technically, Paramount is being bought out by Skydance, or merged with it. I don't know if they're buying Paramount out completely, or they're merging it. I don't know what's going on. Well, I've been hearing kind of like Hulu and Disney Plus with, Comcast and Disney Plus. There's been some people trying to delay the buyout of, Skydance and Comcast, or Skydance and Paramount. So, yeah, I don't know, like, I think they're probably going to end up buying Paramount. I think they're going to probably buy it. People are just trying to delay the company and all that. I don't know if, like, I don't know if that means, like, too, that, if they're buying out Paramount, I don't know if, like I said, I don't know if they're buying it fully, or they're going, like, Warner Brothers Discovery. I don't know what's going on, but, like, John Lasseter is going to be, I think, in charge of, I think he might become the CEO, I don't know. Now, people have had some problems with John Lasseter in the past. Like, people have talked about, like, that John Lasseter is this predator and all that, and, I don't know, like, that's the thing, though. I don't know, like, is he a predator? Because, a lot of people from Disney and all that, and Pixar, have went over to work with him, you know? So, is he actually a predator, or are people just trying to say that? You know, it's hard to say. Like, I don't really know. I will say, though, him being hard to work with, that I can understand, because people are talking about how he's very stubborn and hard to work with at times, and, yeah, he kind of is. I think that's, because even when, before Disney, got, Bob Iger as a CEO, Michael Eisner and him, I think were butting heads and all that. Like, I think, they had some issues and all that, because I think, Michael Eisner and, they, and him wanting to do, like, their own thing and all that, and I can kind of see that, but, like, but Paramount, like I said, Paramount, getting, bought out by Skydance, I think that's gonna happen. Like I said, I don't think Disney is going to acquire it, because I don't think they have the money, and even if they were to acquire that, they would have some legal problems, because they already own Fox and all that. They can't really buy that. And you could say, though, Warner Brothers is technically part of Disney Plus and all that, and yes, it is, but that's not their they don't actually own the content. They're licensing it. Disney doesn't actually own the content. So they actually don't own it, they don't, they don't own, they don't own, like, Max and all that. They don't own it. They actually they're just helping, licensing it, they don't actually own it. Because like I said, that'd be an antitrust law. So that's kind of where I wanted to point that out because of that, I wanted to point all that out. Because Disney would, like, because Disney, I don't think, can buy Paramount. Because like I said, they're already getting sold off to Skydance. And actually, Paramount is actually putting most of their stuff on Netflix, and they're taking their stuff off of Hulu. So, but I think people are. I was trying to figure out, because I saw that in the comments, like, and by the comments, I mean I actually made a comment question, or like a post, I should say. People's favorite Disney logo, and that's what people were talking about. But that's from, like, the Park Place. But like I said, I don't really watch his content anymore, because he kind of gets kind of salty with people and all that. And I even pointed out some stuff in his videos. I feel like my comments kind of get buried in the ground, so I'm just like, I don't really care. I just don't care. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. But yeah, I figured to bring that up. But yeah, like I said, the whole thing with, like I said, with Hulu and Disney Plus, yeah, I definitely think they're going to be merged. I've been saying that for a while. They're going to be merged because again, Disney can't afford to be keeping this stuff open, and rather than, selling off the shit, they decided to shut it down. That's something they've been doing for years, though. So, even before Bob Iger became, the CEO, they kind of did that with, like, I think they bought this company. I don't remember what the company's name was, but they made, like, shows like Doug and all that from, like, Nickelodeon and all that. They acquired that, and they don't really know what they were doing with that either. And they bought the Muppets. And actually, they feel like they're burying the Muppets in the ground, because I've been noticing because people are questioning that. Like, people are like, if Disney doesn't care about the Muppets, why don't they just sell it off? That's kind of how a lot of this shit is, though. Like, if they're just gonna, merge Hulu with Disney Plus and all that, then, and, shut Blue Sky down, would it be better to sell it off if they're losing money? That's the thing, though. They just don't know what they're gonna do. They don't know what they're doing with the stuff. And that's the problem. They're losing money because, like I said, they keep doing, like I said, with the AI and all that. They're trying to cut people and all that to make to say profit, but that's only gonna, do so much, and eventually they're going to, like I said, they're gonna hit a ceiling. They'll hit a ceiling, and then they're gonna be freaking screwed. They're either going to have to sell some shit off, or they're gonna have to, I don't know, they're gonna have to go under, because and people have told me too that Disney is too big to fail, and I'm like, they're not too big to fail. And actually, that's actually where I wanted to talk about this too. I was trying to remember what I was gonna talk about, but I figured I'd talk about this. I don't know if I brought this up in my videos before or not, but do you guys remember the story of Ames? Or I should say, as Palpatine says it in the prequel trilogy. Do you know the tragedy of Ames? Yep, Ames was once a massive company. They were once a massive company who thought they were unstoppable, kept acquiring more and more stores, and eventually they went under. And they did what Disney was doing. They would basically would acquire these companies, and then I think they might have sold some of them off, I think, but they pretty much just shut them all down. So, they basically acquire all these, these companies, and they put Ames in debt, and then eventually, by 2002, they shut all the stores down, and all the crap they acquired went under with them. Now, that's actually something I've heard more about in the last, few months, because I didn't even know what Ames was. I didn't know what Ames was for a while. I just known about it because there's this YouTuber I watched called Wally B, who talked about it. So I didn't even know what Ames was. But looking into the history and how they fell, that's exactly what Disney's doing right now. So, yeah, that's actually kind of concerning. Because, like I said, if Disney goes under, all the shit they acquired goes under with them. So, the Muppets, it'll be gone. So will Fox. Well, they're Fox. They're 20th Century Fox because they don't own all the company. That'd be gone. Pixar, that'd be gone too. Marvel, Lucasfilm, would be gone. And I know people are not happy with Lucasfilm and Marvel and all what they become. But I don't want to see these companies go under. I don't even want to see Disney go under. But I'm just like, but you see what I'm talking about though. Like I said, if they go under, everything they acquired goes under with them. And that's not good. That's not good. And, if people again are telling me that Disney's too big to fail, they're fine and all that, and I'm like, they're not really fine because they're out here, like I said, trying to, they're acquiring more stuff. I talked about they don't have the money to buy, Paramount. But they do have the money to buy some stuff. They did buy out, I think it was it Fubo TV or something like that? I don't remember what it was. I think it was Fubo. They acquired that because again they're trying to increase their numbers on their platform, but and all that. But I'm like, it's not gonna work out too well because I'm like, again, people are just gonna take their shit off the platform. You might get some shows and content you've acquired from these platforms, but it's not worth it, It's like Hulu. I keep telling people, them acquiring Hulu is pointless. Because if they're out here acquiring Hulu, then everything they acquire with Hulu, like I said, they acquired Hulu, but everything they got with Hulu, a lot of people just take their stuff off the platform and move it somewhere else. That's what's happening. A lot of the shit that that they had deals with, in the past, like Paramount and all that, they're taking their stuff off of there. And I mean, you get the content back on there, but you gotta pay Disney almost $100 to have fucking live TV and all that. It's not worth it. It ain't worth it. And that's the thing, though. They could do all this shit on their platform. They don't fucking need Hulu. But instead of, like, selling Hulu off to, to somebody else and get some money off of it, they'll just shut it down. Because, again, that's what Disney does. And, again, like, all these poor people that lose their fucking jobs, they want to bitch about AI and all that. Well, this is part of the problem. You know, because they have a shitty CEO and all that, and I said I'm going to try to cut costs and save money, but like I said, it's not going to do any good if you don't have the workers, you know, there to you know, make the good stuff, you know. And that's the problem. That's the problem, though. But I do think there is too many, you know, I said too many, you know, streaming services. I do think there is, but Hulu, I feel like, was one of those that could have been saved because it was a long-running service. Disney Plus and all that, like, these are just studios that, you know, that create their own streaming platform and all that. So, like, you know, Disney Plus, Paramount, and you know, all that, you know, like, they create their own, you know, platforms. But again, they don't really need it. They could just, they could have just kept their stuff on their own platforms. That's the problem, though. But I don't know. But yeah, I have a feeling though. Like I said, Disney's not too big to you know, to fail. And eventually, like I said, they're going to, like, hit a ceiling, and they're either going to have to straighten their act up and sell shit off that they don't need, like the Muppets, because they clearly don't know what they're doing with the Muppets, or you know, or actually I don't even think they even care about the fucking Muppets. Like, that was something I said that Michael Eisner acquired when he was the CEO. I think he was a huge Muppets fan. And then when Iger came in, Iger doesn't fucking care about the Muppets. So Iger doesn't even care about anybody but himself. You know, but, like, it's gonna bite him in the ass because, like I said, eventually, like I said, everything they acquired will go down with them. And that's the problem. So I hope that they learn their lesson and actually, I said, sell some of this shit off, because if they don't, like I said, they'll go down, everything will go down with them. But, I don't know. But for right now, though, I said that's all I think I have to say about this. But, yeah, it sounds like I said we're gonna be, the Disney Plus and Hulu will definitely merge, like I said, and it's stupid, but there's not really much you could do about it, you know, so. But I will say, though, tell me what you guys think about this in the comments below. And I'll see you guys all later. Peace.